Hello, and welcome to the coronavirus update video number 52.0. Today's date is the 18th of May 2020. It is a Monday, and it is great to see you guys. Now, you guys were probably wondering what is going on right now. Why am I wearing a mask? Why am I wearing gloves? Well, we're going to do a quick tutorial on this because, hang on. I'm still in my house, I'm not in quarantine, there is no panic or anything like that. I don't want any of you guys to think that I have the coronavirus or anything like that, no one in the family. What we're going to do at the start of this show, the first 2 minutes, I'm just going to quickly explain a couple of things about masks, because there is some news that is coming out about masks, and gloves as well. We're going to talk about gloves very quickly, and then we'll go into the normal news like I always do. First of all, thank you for everyone joining in, already up to 500. Guys, you are awesome. If you can click that share button and get this out to as many people as possible as well. The information that I'm going to share out today is going to be really crucial, especially with the gloves and the masks. And we're going to be talking about phase 1, and that's basically it. And a couple of reminders as well. Right, so why am I wearing a mask? Well, my wife is a psychologist. She had to do her practicals in laboratories and everything like that. She's had to wear masks, she's had to wear gloves, and she's been taught the proper way to take them off, and the proper ways to wear a mask as well. So, the first thing we're going to do is talk about the mask. Now, what you should, of course, not be doing is touching it like what I'm doing constantly at the moment. You should not be touching it as much as what I'm doing at the moment. But masks, again, a lot of people, there's a lot of contradiction about whether you should be wearing them, whether you should not be wearing them. What it looks like is going to be happening, and this is why I'm going to be doing this, it looks like the masks are going to be mandatory in public spaces. Now, this still has to come out, and there's been a lot of news coming out that the health minister is making this a mandatory law, but again, we don't know whether this is going to be mandatory in bars, restaurants, or just in public spaces. I know that in public transport, buses, trams, trains, undergrounds, masks are now mandatory. You have to wear a mask. So we're going to talk about the proper way to wear a mask, and then problems with people who wear glasses as well. Alright, so the first thing, of course, when you're putting on a mask, you should put it straight on like this, and over your ears. Yes, you're wearing a mask. Now, the one thing that maybe you will have a problem with if you wear glasses, you can already see, my glasses are already starting to steam up. Oh God. So, what's the big issue with here? Well, what I haven't done, I haven't properly closed it around my nose. And this is the first thing you should be doing as well. Even if you wear glasses or if you don't wear glasses, that little metal thing on these disposable masks, you should be closing these as much as possible to get a tight seal around your nose and around your eyes. And then once you do that, there's going to be less steam on your glasses. So you can already see I've actually got less steam coming on. Now, there are some other tricks that you can do. I have tried them, and they haven't really worked amazingly. But actually, you can put soapy water on the glasses and then wash it off and dry it with a bit of tissue paper. And apparently, actually, this stops. I have tried it just before I came on, and it didn't really work. So maybe it's the type of soap I was using. But yeah, that's the one rule that I can basically give you now is just try to get a tight seal around here as much as possible. You can already see that this is a lot better now. So for anyone who does wear glasses and you have to wear a mask, that's going to be the best advice that I can give you there. The only other advice is what I normally do is just wear contact lenses. I look very different without my glasses, but I normally wear a contact lenses when I do go out and I have to wear a mask in the pharmacy, etc. So yeah, these are just the tips. Now, taking off the mask. This is really important. You should not take off your mask whilst wearing your gloves. You should take off your mask and then take off your mask. So, how do you take off a mask? Now, what I'm going to do here, there we go. And doing that, you should not be doing that either, but I'm just doing this for demonstration reasons, okay? Now, taking off your gloves. This is really important as well, because a lot of people just wipe them off and that's it. The best way, and this is actually the way that they teach in university to take off your gloves in hospitals, is to pinch the wrist here, okay? So you're meant to pinch just by the wrist here. I've done this upside down there. And then you're meant to roll it up. And you'll see it starts to turn inside out. Yeah. And then once you turn it inside out, there we go, we can take it off. Now I'm still holding onto it. Now this hand is clean. I have not touched it with the glove or anything like that. And then what you need to do is get your fingers into the glove here without touching it and my camera is so high. This is difficult with the camera so high here. And then you pull down. Hang on, let me do this. There we go. You pull down over the other glove. There we go. And once you've done that, you've taken off your gloves successfully. Dispose of them properly, not on the ground, not in the public parks. There's been so many people complaining that there's gloves and masks all over the street. And yeah, I agree, this should not be a thing. And then once you've done that, you can then take off your mask just by using the ear strap thingies, okay? And that's it. Now this is actually a disposable mask, so this in theory should now go into the bin because I've technically used it whilst out. The same as the gloves as well, disposable gloves. But one thing that I will get into today is gloves. They're not necessarily mandatory, but yet still people are using them. I know a lot of supermarkets and pharmacies are requiring you to wear gloves when going into their premises, but actually hospitals now, they are not actually allowing anyone wearing gloves to go into the hospitals to visit patients or to visit loved ones. So this, again, is kind of very contradicting from what some people are saying and then what other supermarkets and pharmacies are doing. So it's very, very strange. I always say just, wash your hands as much as possible, carry around some hand sanitizer, but washing your hands is clearly the best way to avoid contaminating anyone else and to avoid contaminating yourself. Masks, that's a whole different story. But yeah, gloves, not necessarily mandatory, but I know it's a safety blanket for a lot of people. Okay, let's jump into the actual news. So if you like that tutorial, share this out to anyone who you know lives in Spain and they might be wearing masks and face and gloves and everything like that. Share it on Facebook. I will put the video on YouTube afterwards as well, but just share it out as much as possible, okay? All right. Let's go into the news. Now, as of today, the 18th, I haven't actually received, and the government haven't actually put out the statistics over the last 24 hours. Normally, they do it around midday. So I'm very confused why they haven't actually produced the official document. I've been looking on the actual website, I've been looking on other Facebook pages, no actual numbers have come out yet. So no, we don't have an up-to-date statistics, but I will do from yesterday, Sunday, and the previous 24 hours, okay? So as of Sunday, the 17th of May, there are 231 people infected, 231,350 people infected, and that is on the official government document. That is only 421 over the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is 149,576 people recovered, and that is 3,130 over the last 24 hours. And the death rate is 27,650, and that is only 87 people over the last 24 hours. Now, these are the results for Sunday. So if you're just joining in, this is Sunday, not today's, the actual last 24 hours, because they haven't been published yet, which is, again, very, very strange here. All right, so masks, we've talked about this. Now, masks, they might be going into a mandatory stage. So if this is the case, masks now, the disposable ones like this, these are now for sale in most of your pharmacies now. They are put at a regulatory price, regulated price at 96 cents per mask. You can always get these online as well, these disposable ones. Myself and my wife, we've actually got FFP2, which are the masks that actually protect you and giving out the virus as well. So read up on the different types of masks. It is actually really interesting to see the different types as well. And as I said, hospitals are now asking people to take off gloves when entering into the hospital, and they're just asking you to wash your hands and put hand sanitizer on your hands before going in. All right, let's jump into the other news that has been coming out over the last weekend, really. Now, President Sanchez, he has asked for another month extension. Now, we predicted this. Why? Because phase 2 is only going to be up to the extension that it currently is at the moment. Now, what President Sanchez and what he actually wants to put into place is, of course, the fourth phase of lockdown. So, yeah, we're in phase 1 at the moment. Some of the islands are now in phase 2. Phase 2 for us, for example, in Murcia, could be next week. But he's still got the phase 3 to get to and most of the country to get to phase 3 as well. And this could actually take a lot more time than he anticipated. So what he has done, he's put an extension in for another 30 days, not 15 days, but 30 days. and he's looking to get this passed by Congress. So, of course, all the news that is coming out, President Sanchez put another 30-day lockdown or extension on the lockdown. Again, this is not correct news. He's asked for it and he will be taking it to Congress. Will it be accepted? We don't know. One, he has to get all the political parties to get the majority vote, and if this is the case, then well, we'll have another 30-day of lockdown. But it's not going to be a strict lockdown. It's just going to be the phases gradually going into one another. It's not like it's just going to be a complete and utter lockdown and that's it. No, he still has to put all the phases into place. So do not panic about that. Do not panic about the 30-day extension. You know, don't worry, that this is just the protocol that he wanted to put into place from the start. He also stated that summer and the new normality should be happening at the end of June, coming into the middle of, end of June to the middle of July, which is perfect. That's great time for summer to start. Most of the people, of course, taking their holiday vacations. We still don't know yet whether the borders are going to be open and whether people are allowed to come into Spain for the tourism sector to start coming back up. But yeah, this is what he stated. So if this is all going to plan, we can look at the end of June having a new normality and the borders opening up for tourism as well. Okay, now today, Monday the 18th, a lot of the provinces and a lot of the people who were in phase 0 have now gone into phase 1. Congratulations. Please do not take advantage of this. Please use your common sense, as I've been stating in all of the videos over the last week. Now it's 70% of all of Spain have now moved into phase 1. And there are still a few places that are still in phase 0, but in fact it's phase 0.5, so half a phase really. And that is the major cities such as Madrid and Barcelona and some of the major capitals of Castilla-La Mancha as well, or Castilla-León. I always get those two mixed up. Also Malaga, Alicante, Valencia, Maria, these and Granada, these have all gone now into phase 1. So please remember, I'm going to give you a quick reminder of the things that you can do, and everyone who is in phase 1 at the moment, just a quick reminder of what you can and can't do, okay? So, in phase 1, shops of 400 meters square, they can open, but by appointment only. Shops that are less than 400 meters square, wait, did I get that right? No. Shops with 400 meters square or less can open up with no appointment, but you should be at 30% capacity of allowing people in. Shops with more than 400% capacity, 400 meters square, you can open up, but you have to book, go with an appointment service or cordon off the shop with less than 400 meters square, where you'll be able to to talk with the clients and the people coming in to shop. You can meet your friends and families, but only in the same province. Now, I know there was a big mix-up with the health areas. This has now been taken away. What they've done with the Valencia community, they've put it into their normal provinces. So you've got Alicante and Valencia. These are now split into two. So the Alicante province, you can now move around freely within that Alicante province, but you will not be able to go into Valencia, let's say. You can go to a terraced bar, or a bar with a terrace, but the bar can only open up with 50% capacity, and you can meet your friends up to 10 people, and that is at a friend's house, a family house, your house, or the bar or terrace. Only maximum of 10 people gathered together. You can go shopping to another supermarket. It doesn't state that you have to shop to your closest supermarket. You can now go around the province and go to any supermarket that you wish. And you can now go shopping, such as clothes shoppings, jewelry shops, whatever. You can now go to these shops. Most of these are now opening up at the 30% capacity. You do not have to make an appointment, but they will be putting in their own rules, such as waiting outside until there is enough capacity to go in. You can drive to a second residency in the same province. So if you have a holiday home in the coast and you live in the city, you can go to that holiday home. You're allowed to move there without any issues, but as long as it is in the same province. Cross-border province cannot happen at the time being. You can drive more than one in a car. Hooray! So you can have 2 people up to 4, 5, 9 people if you have a people carrier, as long as they're in the same household. If you're from different households, you have to wear masks when going into the car together. You're allowed to do exercise, but it's the same schedule as before. The adults, children, and the over 70-year-olds, they're in different time schedules. This is still now the same. But looks like what they're going to be doing as well is the new time schedules sorry, the time schedules will now be for the for over 10,000 in your municipal. So again, this is something that's going to be coming out this week, so stay tuned and I will update you on this as well. But you cannot drive to a place to do exercise. I'm still getting this message on a daily basis. Can I drive to the mountains or can I drive to the beach to go for a walk? No, you are not able to do this, I'm afraid. Even if you drove to the coast, sat at a bar and then went for a walk afterwards, if you are caught by the police and they ask you where you are and what you're doing, blah, 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 you could be fined. So please be very careful with that. Also, fishing is allowed in phase 1. I was actually surprised by this, but fishing has now been put as the okay. So if you want to go fishing, you of course have to be licensed and everything, I believe, in Spain, but you are now allowed to go fishing, no problem whatsoever. ITV garages are now open as well, and I put out yesterday and the day before that ITV garages are open and the extensions as well. Now, it's too complicated to put in just to this video, but the major thing that you have to remember is if your ITV or your MOT expired during the lockdown, you have at least 45 days to get the renewal done. That's basically it, really. If your ITV expired before the lockdown and you don't, or you didn't have an appointment that was cancelled, you will have to get a tow truck to the ITV garage to get it inspected. You will not be able to legally drive this. And I just saw this. Bill Stewart, well done. There is only still one person allowed from the household to go in shopping. You're allowed to take 2 people in the car to go to the supermarket, but you're allowed one person of that car to go in shopping. You should not be shopping in 2s unless you are shopping with a minor or someone who is vulnerable or elderly and you're helping them, okay? So please be very careful with that. And small shops, like I said, are opening, but the news came out during the week that the summer sales are not actually going to be going along in the shops. So the summer sales that normally happens around the June, July time, getting rid of most of their stock, this is actually not going to be put into place in the stores. This can only be offered online. So if you, of course, you want to do a bit of shopping and you want to support some local businesses and they have a website, they should be offering the summer sales, but only on their website there as well. All right, let's move on. Now, for the people who are in phase 1 and the ones in Murcia, for example, we've been in phase 1 for the last week. It's been great to see all of your photos, your videos that you sent me through of yourselves meeting your friends, meeting your families, going to a bar and a terrace, and I thought that was brilliant to see. It was really, really nice to see because it was a good pick-me-up, especially. Now, one thing I did want to mention about bars and going to terraces, the capacity and common sense. Now, there's been a couple of bars already in the Murcia region that have been closed down and fined a very, very big fine as well. There is one specific one, which is an outside bar, a terrace bar, and of course they should only be occupying with 50% capacity and of course 2-meter perimeter or radius from each of the tables. There was videos and photos that came out from this bar. They had around 12 cars, police cars, come and basically close everything down because there was people standing in groups and walking around and just not abiding by the rules. So, of course, the bar was shut down. Now, this is for you guys as well. If you're going out to a bar and you see that bar is full, you can't stand around and just mix around and mingle or stuff like this. It is not permitted. And most likely, if a police car does go by and you see that this bar is very, very full and it's not at the 50% capacity of the terrace area, it's most likely going to be closed down. So if that was your local, it's going to be such a shame. So if you do see something like this, come back again later, okay? It's not going to be full all of the time. Come back later and, have a drink in your house. That's all okay to do. Also, I just want to say thank you for everyone who has already messaged me and sending the photos, but also putting a tip in my name to the bars and the hairdressers as well. I did not expect that at all. It was a little thing, a bit of advice that I put out a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I think. And it was just, if you wanted to buy me a drink, thank you very much. But I'm not going to be able to go and see everyone in the different regions. So if you do want to give a bit of money or a tip or something like that, you can give it to the bar staff and just say, it's from me, you're buying me a drink. That's good enough for me. You're going to be supporting local bar, you're going to be supporting the staff workers there, so thank you again for everyone who's already done that. All right, Let's have a look. Okay, phase 2 is what we're going to have to talk about today, just a small amount. So some of the islands have now been starting to go into phase 2, which means there's going to be a lot more less restriction. There's going to be less restriction when going out, and in fact, phase 2, the beaches are now open. You're allowed to go in for a swim, like a dip, not just exercise or anything like that. Bars are now opening the inside area of 50% capacity, but you're now allowed to go inside in phase 2. Most of the shops are opening up at a higher capacity as well. And in general, it just looks great. It really does. The news today, they showed Tenerife, that they're now in phase 2, and the freedom that they had, they just looked happier and more energetic. So I think when we get to that stage, and hopefully, if the way things are going at the moment, the Murcia region especially, and everyone who went into phase 1 last week, most likely they will be going next week into phase 2. So if this happens, there could be the new rules that come out, and hopefully maybe a less restriction on exercise and timeframes and stuff like this. So we just have to wait and see. And until we actually get the royal decree about this, well, we just have to wait and see, okay? Right, the next thing. EU, so the European Union in Brussels, they have been coming together with the different heads of the countries, and it looks like they're going to be coming to an agreement where countries of the European Union, in fact it's 10 countries, that they're going to be signing a declaration to activate flights for the summer. Now this means, of course, for Spain, we'll be able to travel to these other 9 countries, and it will be kind of freedom of movement. I guess each country will have their own rules when it comes to when people are coming in, quarantining, etc. But I thought this was a good step. This is a great way to activate the tourism industry as well, and it's going to be a good way that we can actually start getting to a new normality. So if this is the case, flights are starting to come back in. Great news. Now, talking about flights as well, in Spain, as of today, there are 13 airports now opening up with flights, daily flights. I won't say irregular flights, but daily flights. So this is actually good news. And this is also 8 ports as well. So the ports that you can grab the ferries in as well. 8 ports are now opening up to the public as well. But this is the next point that I wanted to talk about. So people now thinking that the airports are opening up, brilliant, I can get a flight, I can come to my summer home. No, not quite yet. At the moment, with the royal decree, the borders are still closed. And I actually put out a post about this yesterday, and I had a message from a woman yesterday who got a reply from the Spanish embassy. What it looks like is people, and this is still the case since the beginning of lockdown, people are still trying to get from the UK to Spain, but they haven't got residency and they're not Spanish citizens. What can they do? Well, as it looks like at the moment, there is nothing that they can do. I put out the post yesterday of the email, and the Spanish embassy basically stated that unless you have your green residency card, or you're a Spanish resident, or even married to someone who is a Spanish resident or a Spanish citizen, this is not going to be in your favor. You will not be able to travel into your country, and you'll most likely be stopped. We also got a message from a woman who was successful. She did have a residency, but she actually went through the whole process of flying into, I think it was Alicante. No, it wasn't Alicante, Madrid. I can't remember, but she had the whole status where she was in the UK, and she had police checking her boarding pass, her passports and residency to make sure that all the documents were there, and they were requesting when they landed the residency and passport as well. So they are requesting this, and you could be denied if, for example, you are traveling without your residency card. You could be denied to board the plane, and you could be denied entry into the country as well. Now remember, when you do come into the country, at the moment you still have to self-quarantine for 14 days. So if this is the case and you are coming back to Spain and you have residency, you still have to self-isolate for 14 days. This means staying in a bedroom, hopefully connecting to a toilet, and you have to stay away from everyone in your household and everyone out in the public. Now it does state if you do need to go out and you're alone, and you do need to go out to the supermarket to get food, groceries, etc., you are permitted to go, but you have to have gloves and you have to have a mask on at all times. All right, and I think that's it. Oh my God, yes. Okay, 25 minutes, that's great. Now, For everyone who commented on Baby Lockdown, I put out a video last week, at the beginning of last week, I think it was. It's called Baby Lockdown. If you've seen it already, I really appreciate all your comments and everything. It's been shared out so many times, so I really, really appreciate it. Again, my baby daughter, she's doing well, so thank you for everyone who is asking. But that is going to be it for today, guys. Right, I hope you enjoyed the instructional video about wearing the masks and wearing gloves and how to take them off, etc. If you haven't seen it, it was at the start of this video, so as soon as I finish now, go back and watch it from the start. Stay safe, guys, and remember, I will be back on Fridays and Mondays every single week, okay? So I'll see you on Friday, 4 p.m. I'll keep updating you with anything else as well. Bye, guys.